Welcome everyone to this insightful session that we're going to have with Bishop Shoo from the Evangelical Lutheran Church in Tanzania, Northern Diocese, and some of his colleagues to tell us something about how to create a good financial investments and assets plan, what they've done, how they made it work, and what their plans are for the future. I would firstly like to invite Bishop Shoo to introduce himself and introduce the colleagues who he has with him.
Thank you, Nana. Glad to be here. I'm Fredrick Shoo, and I'm Bishop of the Evangelical Lutheran Church in Tanzania and the Presiding Bishop of the Lutheran Church. I am glad to have this opportunity, and I am honored to introduce my colleagues. We have Mr. Munguatosha Makyao, who is the treasurer of our diocese. We have Mr. Samwel Wadu, who is the general manager of our bank, Uchumi Commercial Bank.
Thank you for that introduction. And Munguatosha and Samuel, nice to meet you today as well. So let me start straight away with the first question, because this is not the first time that your church has done a faith plan. You have been on this journey for many years. And I'd like to ask you, Bishop Shoo and Samuel in particular, how did you create the very first plan that led to the setup of Uchumi Bank, which is a church-owned bank?
Thank you. The idea of establishing our church-owned bank actually came out of the challenges that our church institutions and church members and parishioners were getting when it came to financial services. It was not very easy for our institutions and people, for example, to get credit. And the conventional banking system was not accommodating to the needs and levels of our people. My predecessor, the then bishop of that time, Dr. Erasto Kweka, presented the idea to the diocese executive council, which gave blessings and directed that a special committee to be established in order to oversee the entire process of registering a bank in Tanzania.
Thank you, Bishop Shoo. And perhaps Samuel will want to pick it up from there in terms of how the bank operates today.
Yeah, thank you so much. Just to extend what Bishop has said, the task was to start establishing the initial capital. The requirements for establishing a community bank by then, it was 2005. Minimum required capital was Tanzanian shillings 250 million. Therefore, the first thing the committee did is to pass through churches to mobilize the congregation about establishing the bank. So in 2005, September, the bank was able to raise shillings 372 million as an initial capital. Therefore, the church was granted a license to establish a community bank operating locally within Kilimanjaro region. And on 22nd of September, the bank opened door to the public. So the door was open, people were bringing their deposits, the bank started lending.
Yeah.
Here we are today.
It's a wonderful story. And what's also great about it is that whilst it was started by the church, it's open to those of every faith. Bishop Shoo, I would love to ask you a bit more around how you mobilized all the different churches to contribute to this.
Thank you, Nana. The first step was the awareness raising. We had awareness meetings, which were carried out through church members and institutions. But also we gave public education on the importance of saving and credit. And the third step was to mobilize capital from the parishioners themselves, who in turn bought the shares. And thus individual parishioners and parishes had the sense of ownership. And it was not so easy. There were, of course, resistances. Some of our partners from abroad, for example, with whom we shared this idea of starting a bank, They thought this is impossible, and that we as a church and in Tanzania, in Africa, we cannot do that. They actually discouraged us.
Yes.
But we persisted. We persisted, and in faith, through faith, we managed to establish such a bank.
Thank you, Bishop Shoo. Maybe now I will turn to Munguatosha as you think about your role as treasurer for the whole diocese. What does it take to have a good plan?
Okay, thank you, Nana. For me, I will say what really makes a good financial institution or financial investment. First of all, we set clear financial goals to the extent that everybody or members really understand what you want to achieve. And therefore, for us, we shared the goals to the members, and members really understand what was the objectives. Mm-hmm. And this one included the creation of the ownership to the members. For us, we do run our banking professionally and really business oriented, so that the church does not interfere the banking business or operations, but it just operates professionally, making sure that an income that will go back to the shareholders as dividends. Therefore, the bank is very transparent, so they can just know how much we earn as a profit and how much goes back to them. And again, we have created the human touch value, the customer care that we give to our people, keeping their dignity, make sure that we keep their confidentiality of everything, but make sure that they receive what they want. And again, we've created the sense of ownership by selling shares to the ordinary people, and therefore they have that sense of ownership on their side.
Thank you, Munguatosha. As you say, it is about that sense of ownership and the laity being involved. And I might close just asking about what are the plans for the future?
First of all those governors, as mentioned, setting a clear goal, getting understanding for all the congregation, that has created something which is very important to the parishioners, that they feel this is our bank. So whenever they think of financial service, they think of Uchumi. So they put their deposit, they have set the plans that every Sunday when they do the contribution, they set aside some percentage just to top up capital. So what the result is, we started with a capital of 372 million, and currently we have a capital of 10.1 billion. So the investment that church has made, it has touched the life of people. Some people previously, they were not even able to enter the banking hall. They think the bank is for rich people. After the establishing of Uchumi Bank, many people now feel that they can go to the bank, they can borrow, they can do business. So that has created a sense of financial literacy among the community, but also the life-changing. We have so many cases where you see someone has started with a very small business. Now they are running a very big portfolio.
Thank you very much, Samuel. And maybe Bishop Shoo, what would you say to encourage other groups who are just starting their journey of making faith plans?
By establishing this bank, we have learned one thing, that it does not matter how small you start. You only have to believe in that and to have that good faith and the good intention of improving the people's livelihoods, to improve the economy of the poor families, even in the rural areas, but also in the cities. We have seen that it can be done. And as Samuel has just said, through our bank, we have seen life-changing experiences, and it has really made a difference and an impact, a very positive impact to the people. So it can be done, to have this faith and to have the will to help transform the livelihoods of the people, and especially the poor people.
To have the faith and to have the will, it can be done. Thank you all very much indeed for your contributions.